Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Joy Show with hosting your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show is each weekday morning. Hella early at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel and 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Livecast. Today, we're talking about the truth. Telling the truth to and about oneself, but also being a champion for the truth in the outer, in the social, in the social political order as well. So thanks for joining us. Let's just dive into the topic today. So guys, we're talking about the truth today, which has always been, I should not say always, but has oftentimes been a point of contention because, of course, there are different understandings and perceptions of the truth. But in the modern political context, as we now know, it is such that the people on the right, especially the current Republican party led by Mr. Trump, have now made it possible that one can have their own facts. And when there's no baseline for what's factual and what's not factual, that's just probably the most extreme example of in my lifetime of white supremacy that I've seen, where the power encoded in white supremacy is so powerful that they literally can say and determine what facts are, even though the facts are clearly not what they claim to be, based upon evidence. That's extraordinary. You couldn't imagine a black person saying, I won an election despite losing by millions of votes, or despite dozens of recounts and audits and court challenges. I mean, it's extraordinary. That's the power of white supremacy. And so what we're facing now is the fallout, what happens next, because as a result of that particular series of big lies, there's been a change literally in how people are going to be able to vote in this country. And it looks like, I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but minority, meaning not the majority rule, much like South Africa, is about to be implemented in America, because the majority of people who would like to vote, who could vote, are not going to have their voices heard because of a systematic and aggressive attempt to stop them from actually voting, mostly black and brown and young people, because those folks typically are demographics that have supported the Democratic Party. So it's deep, but that really isn't today's topic. That's just one kind of a pop cultural example of what's happening when the truth is being scandalized, or as one TikTok video says, scandalized. And so I say that as an introduction to the show. It's really important to deal with the truth, and first and foremost, the truth about ourselves, which is point one. You want to be in the habit, even if no one else is looking, of being in the habit of telling yourself the truth. And that can be a challenge, certainly a challenge for me still. I have to be in the practice of being honest with myself, because it's a lot easier not to tell oneself the truth. And because when you tell yourself the truth, you have to also deal with the consequences of that truth telling, which means oftentimes it means change. And many of us have lots of responsibilities, and the prospect of having to change things about ourselves is not always such an exciting thing. I know, not for me. So, but we get in there and we work it out, but the process at times is pretty uncomfortable. But I do find by being in the habit, and not even always, today which is why sidebar, these shows that we do in the morning are literally just me working out my own stuff. And y'all are just coming along for the ride, So, getting back to being hardcore with telling myself the truth and encouraging other people to tell themselves the truth, so that we can understand, acknowledge and address where we need to grow. And which goes right to point two, in this self-truth-telling component, but also accepting and appreciating who you are now, wherever that place is. As old black people still say, you a child of God, or I'm a child of God, whatever your belief, understanding about psychic or primordial energies that people call God, that you have an inherent value inside of you, right? As we say oftentimes in this show, if God is everywhere, if the spirit, if the primordial consciousness, call it what you will, if Yahweh, if Jesus is everywhere, that being is also inside of you, because you are also a part of everywhere, right? So that's the thing that we have to accept, as well as we are being self-critical, which is a good thing in my experience, but it can be painful, and it can also impact our sense of self. in a negative way, if we don't also balance it out with, you're also a child of God. You got the spirit of the Most High, what we call it one love in my family, the spirit of one love inside of you. It's a powerful testimony because it means that all things are possible. All things are possible, which goes into point 3. If all things are possible, you are positioned to do it, right? And in that truth-telling modality, you can set yourself up to, in my experience, certainly to do the miraculous. Not like in an ego, again, aggrandizing way, but the idea that, when you can tell yourself the truth, you can work on yourself, you can acknowledge, ooh, I need to work on this part of myself and do this, do that, which at times it means more work, it means change, and again, if you're busy, it's like something else to do. Ooh, I don't feel like doing that right now. Got time for that. But in that process, you develop such a sense of a healthy self-respect. Some people, I won't even say that, but it's good to have a sense of healthy self-respect that's rooted in work, in devotion to, in this case, the truth, and it's part of our show. And I think that's just a good thing to do, because when you go through stuff, and a part of going through stuff is, is dealing with what you need to and what areas you need to grow in your own life. And when you are someone who dives in and does that work, and it's difficult, I find it challenging. But when you do that work, you respect yourself, because you know that a lot of people are not doing that work and they find themselves stuck in the same position. And when you make a decision to come what may, to deal with yourself and make an honest assessment of yourself, and also, of course, to do what needs to be done to grow in those areas, you end up respecting yourself more. You end up loving yourself more. And in that self-respect, in that self-love, it gives you basically more power to negotiate and to navigate the earth that we all share together. And that's one of the greatest benefits of this work. I just got to chill, because I think about all the stuff I've been through. Oh, my goodness. But as we do this work, it's helpful, and as we move through our lives, because, listen, as my boy D Black would always say, listen, life is short and death is certain. And sometimes we think about death as, it's not good. It's not good in the sense of, when you're out of this body, you're done, at least in this physical form. But listen, once you have an understanding of that, though, that I'm not going to live forever, it does, it gives you a different attitude about what you're doing and how you're addressing yourself. And, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, about his own life, that no one really ever dies, and nor him. He just died a couple of days ago, the great Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, because his teachings will live on in people, his ideas will live on, his books, which I've read, many of those books have really impacted my life. Listen, Thich Nhat Hanh is living alive in me for sure. He's impacted my life so much, oh my goodness. And so in our own lives, we can live through our work, through our change, through our development. Because when you change and grow, the people around you, your children, your friends, family, your partner, your colleagues, they see that change and growth, and they're inspired to change and grow themselves. That's my experience for sure. Seeing my friends grow and change. Very inspired by them. Reading biographies, reading Malcolm X's biography now. That's really the newest one. It won the National Book Award by Les Payne. Amazing. Very inspirational brother. And so through all of that, it makes you, it lights a fire beneath you to really do your best while you're on this planet, because our time is not forever, guys. We have to do what we can while we're here. All right, anyway, I don't want to get too preachy, because I'm fucking preaching right now. Boom goes the dynamite. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you when? We'll see you this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces, I'm out.